Hello, hello! Welcome to the show. Psychoyoda here with another adventure in Minecraft, and today I have gotten an entire recording session lost to me. As you can see, we are on something that is probably new to you, and that is a track system in my completed, that's right, I said completed, nether tunnel. And we've got a few things to share with you that need to be caught up because I recorded an entire episode and then went in and realized that the audio of my voice was missing. Here is one of the situations we're going to be dealing with today, though. If you saw it right there, the pigmen are still spawning on these tracks, even though I was sure that tracks placed on blocks meant that they were not a spawnable location. Well, that's still happening, and we're still getting pigmen. And I've done all kinds of things to keep that from happening. Oh, sweet. Got myself a little cactus farm there. As you can see, we've got an automated system for the track set up. Come around the corner, hit a detector rail, which turns this bad mamma jamma on and pops you out of it. And then the minecart gets broken by the cactus, falls into the hopper, and is collected in the chest. Just keep on going there. Go ahead. You're dumb. You're a dummy. You're a dummy. You're a dummy. No, go get in the cactus. Go on. You dummy. So, simple setup. I'm sure you've seen it before. I've seen a lot of people use this kind of thought process, and it works pretty well for us. Let's go ahead and turn this back on here. But let's go ahead and take a ride back, and I'm going to show you, or at least talk about concepts. I want to add some glass in here to make things very beautified. You can see there's a couple of doorways. Those are where Ostadar's tunnel leads to his base, and there's another doorway that should be coming up right here, and that one is the one that leads to the Guardian Temple that Waterbear found while he was doing map surveys. And I used the I think it's acacia wood, that orange color wood. The doors on it blended fairly well with it and surrounded it pretty well. Made it look like it belongs there. I like the idea of doing that too, is we get other projects, we can pop those in. Something else that can be stated from this, see how we got some guys on the track here? Well, the way I got past those guys, because they're on the diagonal, it works even more effectively. I just push forward while I'm in the cart. So you push the direction that you're heading, and it will kind of nudge them out of your way. So I've only had one incident in probably a dozen, maybe even 20 times going back and forth on this rail, where I've had the zombie pigmen on the straights. And when they're on the straights, then there's a situation where they can block you and send you back the other direction. But every time they've been on the diagonal, I just push forward as I'm in the cart, and it will just kind of nudge them out of your way, and you're good to go. Now, I want to make this tunnel accessible by horses, and that's why I set it up the way I did. And the track situation is what it is. It's not perfect, but it works for us. So I went into the thought process of trying to figure out how to eliminate the spawning on here. Well, the first thing I came up with was digging a tunnel all the way underneath. So I went the entire stretch of the track, wide as the entire layout is on top, too tall so that things could spawn in it. And it seems like the only time pigmen spawn in it, at least as far as I can tell, is when you're at that level. So that tells me that there's something built in to the algorithms for spawning that purposely tries to spawn things at the same level you're on. I don't know if there's anything to that or not. That would tell me there is. And also, air gaps next to a spawnable block increases a chance of spawning, which is also why I made the tunnel below wider than this tunnel is. This tunnel is 1, 2, 3, so we'll say 4, 5. Well, you can see the color blocks below on these, so that's 7 across instead of 5 across. Still, it's not eliminating all of the spawning area. So what I think I'm going to do now is I'm going to go try to find myself some squid because I'm going to make some glass panes, and this is actually even more important or relevant now that we've seen the snapshot and how things are going to work. We're going to see a lot more people using glass because of the way that they, when they're not attached to anything, look. So expect to see that in a lot of builds, specifically in my builds, just because of the way it looks. I really like the idea and the concept of it. But I have something else I want to work on at the moment, so I'm going to grab a whole bunch of... oh, sorry, that was UPS going by. It was loud. A whole bunch of squid ink here, and make some gray. Along with that, I want to also make some red, orange, and yellow glass panes, and we're going to play with a concept that I would like to call abstract. It's going to be very abstract, but as I said, I wanted to keep the center open to the tunnel so that we could get horses back and forth on it, and I even made a location for that to take place. I went ahead and got yellow flowers ahead of time. I just need to get some red, unless I already have a whole bunch in here. I do not, but I do have some orange glass, so we can use that. There's some more squid ink, and we'll need some bones and bone meal. Alrighty, we are back here. We got all of the supplies, and I want... Oh, no, we don't have all the supplies. There is something else I wanted to grab. I wanted to check this out, see if it's going to work for us. This is going to be very, very abstract in thought process. Hopefully, let's go ahead and just move all of that down. Hopefully this works out for us the way I think it's going to. I think it's going to look amazing, but I'm trying to reduce the spawning up here as much as possible. And the first thing that came to mind in the idea of doing so was to do something with some glass and create a better situation for us. Well, I hear somebody spawn down below. You can hear the guy. So what I'm going to do is make something that I can only describe as being very abstract. What my thought process is here is to create a situation where we have, that's light gray, this is dark gray. I like the dark gray better. Where we have the ability to kind of block some of this stuff off and then connect it to itself. So we're going to do something like this. And then on this side would be orange. And see how everything's blending in together? It's part of the same colors, but it's adding a very abstract feel to it. So if we just continue on with this idea here, and I think we'll just go ahead and wrap it like that. We've given ourselves a pretty cool look. How do I feel about this, though? That's the real question here. I think we need to do a fairly big section of this to really know how it's gonna take shape. Let's go ahead and do maybe a couple of the colors all connected to each other so we can see how that's looking for us. There's going to be quite a bit of glass. Now I'm only going to be doing this on the sides where the tracks are at, so we'll have a very, very harsh difference in appearance from areas to area. But that's actually part of the appeal of this idea, is making it a lot less of a repeating pattern and much more a random looking thing. The yellow is so bright, holy cow. I mean, that is really bright. It is working for us, though. What do we think about this? I think the best way to do this would be to get a section done like we're doing. Now, where do we want to stop this at? I think we'll do one more into there and like that. And we'll just do that. You'll notice that these are always on the red, and the center of the red is where the diagonals happen. So that will be our change point, and then it would flip over to the other side. Let's go ahead and do a full section of this real quick, and that way we can get a better idea here. And I want to take a minecart trip down this with that in place. Like that. And go, I guess, until we run out of glass here. I got more glass. I didn't make them all into panes because I didn't want to, lose them all. Panes take up more spots in a chest to do than the blocks. Furthermore, you never know what you're going to use the blocks for, so just leave it as such. Okay, that'll give us a good enough idea. Let's grab a cart, I guess, and head past this, and then we'll go past it a few times to see how it looks. But let's go ahead and maybe just throw a block down here so we can pop back and forth on it or something. Let's see here. Like that. How does that work? Really? That's interesting. Let's try that. There we go. It's actually kind of cool looking. Let's go ahead and go back again. Am I stuck in the... How is it doing that? That is weird. That's an interesting glitch. It's probably because it's on the diagonal, but... Okay, so the part that I don't like is the connections like that. That I'm not a fan of. So I think we're going to pop those out, any that are at that level. And we'll just do them to that height. Because I don't like the way that that connects. Now, I could eliminate something else and make that still work for me, but I think we'll just pull all these out. Then I don't have to think about it or worry about it. Just do like a show, and we got ourselves a little bit of rock and roll. Jawohl, jawohl. Okay, go ahead and pop this in since we have it now. See here. It's very it's because it's almost like it's neon, you know. It looks like it's lit up. It definitely, you know, helps enhance the colors behind it. You can still see the blocks behind it sticking out like that. I really like it. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it. I think we're gonna do this. We are not gonna die down here. I am the worst YouTuber ever. My phone goes off constantly while recording. I apologize. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and do this all the way down. I'm really liking the way it looks, and then we can see if that's gonna reduce the amount of spawnage we have in here. Along with that, it still leaves accessible for the horses to go back and forth on here. Now, there's an interesting point that I need to point out to you, an interesting observation. As far as I know, redstone blocks are considered a hollow block, which means they should not have spawns on them, kind of like glass. Glass doesn't have spawn on it, ice doesn't have spawn on it. But I have watched a pigman spawn on a redstone block before. And I don't know if it was because of the location. It could have actually been the block next to it. I've tried a few things to try to get it to happen again because I wanted to see if it was something to that. And I haven't seen it again. But there's some obvious things that are not supposed to be happening that are happening. And I don't know why that is the case or if they can be fixed. It's just interesting little point out observation on my part. Another observation for those keen-eyed people, you guys might have seen... Oh, never mind, I took down the sign. There was a sign right here. I was going to say, you guys might have seen a sign, and that is because something happened while I was away, and I was told to be recording when I came back. This was actually from last week when I recorded the episode I lost, right before I started recording that. Why don't you go ahead and take a look at this footage I got for you here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. What the hell?
That's what happened. Put paintings everywhere? Oh!
Absolutely unbelievable. A lot of something. You didn't even, like, strategically place these. They're in totally, like, bizarro, incomplete order. Everything is random. It is terrible. It doesn't even make any logical sense. That being said, I was trying to figure out how to change this room up. I kind of like it. You missed some spots. You totally missed some spots. You ran out of paintings, didn't you? Wow. Alright, Scree. Game on. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed that little tidbit there of prank information coming from Scree. I will head back here in just a second and show you what I've done with it. I actually kept the majority of it up. I'm kind of a fan of leaving at least a reminder behind of pranks done, and that's essentially what I did. But the reason for her doing it was because she thought it was kind of bland or plain Jane, and she wanted to add some more color and interest into it. A little bit of a chaos factor going on the way that she had set everything up, but it ended up turning out good enough that it inspired me to go ahead and keep pretty much all of it. Just about out of supplies here. Figured I would roll with it until I am completely out. Noticing right off the get-go that I'm using a bit more red than I am yellow. Obviously orange is being used even more so, but we will do what we can to get all of this accomplished in a fairly short order. I just have come to the conclusion it's just not going to happen today. I don't have enough resources at the moment to make that happen. I'm going to have to do a lot more killing squids. I'm going to have to do some more glass gathering or whatnot. There is quite a bit of glass over at the main spawn. In fact, maybe I will head over there at some point here to pick some more up. So, as you can see, I just basically flushed everything out. I filled all the spots in that were missing. I made sure everything was wrapped and symmetrical because I'm very much a person who likes symmetry and stuff. Not so much that the paintings all had to be ones and you couldn't have one that was off-center like that, but just so that the gaps were filled. I also made it so you could access all the chests easily from the fronts and took all those ones off. And then I wanted the white clay to show through again, so I put them on the fence posts behind the things there to see that in that perspective, and I think that worked out pretty well for us. It's not too busy, and it adds quite a bit of interest to that room up there. Also did a little bit more organization here with the mine carts and stuff like that. I think I already showed that this was the area that had the redstone stuff. Nothing in this one yet, and then right now the only thing I have over here is a place for potions of fire resistance, and I'm going to try to keep that full. Okay, so here we have a spawn of pigmen on the track with the glass, so that did not keep them from happening, but I was able to go through them by pushing them forward. That was still a pack spawn too. I just heard pigmen underneath me, so hopefully we see more and more of that happening where the spawns happen below us. We are reducing the amount of blocks they can spawn on by half throughout all of this once all the glass is in place. Hopefully that's enough to keep it down to pretty much a minimum or zero, and force them spawns below us. There's only so much I can do with it. I'm not going to change it up to have like carpet over the top or anything like that, because I don't want to make it so that you can't access this via a horse area, which we will take a look at the stable area down here, because I forgot to show you guys that when we were down here last time. Also take a quick look at the door as well. And then the cart gets nicely saved up there in the chest. Water Bear, when you watch this, that doesn't mean you can steal my freaking minecarts all the time to use yours. You need to implement your own minecart thing. If I start seeing the carts disappearing, I'm just going to go to your base and take iron. I'm just saying. You've been warned. So there is how I have that set up. We're going to fill a lot of this in, and then I'm going to talk to Ostadar about making his own entrance into the main hub from there, but he always have this access door. If that's okay with him to just have that, then he can use that as much as he wants. But I like the way that that looks coming up on it. It's still got a nice orange hue to it. Once we get here where we have the situation with the glass, I do not know how I'm going to deal with that, honestly. It may be a thing where I want to... Yeah, I honestly don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do to make it so it's still accessible. Maybe just miss certain sections so you can get through them. We'll have to figure that out as we get to it. But I figured I'd close off by heading out to the main area here and show you guys a couple of things. Not much in the way of things have changed around here. Rain did add a... This is the one I made for Scree, which is really close. Rain did add a tunnel in for herself as well, and this goes to her new place at the Guardian Temple, which she's been working on quite a bit. The only access to the triple spawner is still down Waterbear's tunnel. It's right there. Actually, there might be an access from here as well. I'm going to see if we can't just continue in diagonal straight on. It should pump right into that one. Talk to Rain about that next time she's on. Maybe she'll be okay with that. And I think she's got a pattern she's laying out in there too, but we'll keep that for another episode when she finishes it off. What I want to show you guys was the amount of nether brick we're at here. And we're getting to the point where we don't really need any more of that. Oh, I did swap that around, so it's just the one side, so we probably want to pop these out. But I do need to get some more charcoal being made because we're almost out of charcoal. And as I said, there was more glass over here. The majority of this glass was from me. I kept on bringing sand over here from around the sand island area, so I don't have a problem with taking it. Furthermore, the initial reason for that being there was Waterbear had some glass he needed, and then he brought extra in for everybody else to use. So I'll probably just snag some more of that since I'm the one that brought the majority of it here the last go around anyway, and I can always go get more. As it sits right now, I still spend a heck of a lot more time on here than anybody else does, to the point that I would say I spend close to, on average, a 24-hour period here within 2 weeks. So that'd be about 12 hours a week. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. It just depends on the projects. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just wish that other people were as addicted / committed to this as I was from time to time. It would be nice to see faces on here randomly when I'm on here, because I am on here quite a bit. But it tends to be that I'm the only one that's on unless it's a Friday. We have a standing thing that we get on here every Friday together and just dink around, doing different things and whatnot. That will probably change because there's a couple of games that I want to do with the other folks, and I also want to record some of them. That's more importantly, I want a good time period that we can all get together, and Fridays has always been how we've been set up to do that. So hopefully that some of those come to take place here fairly soon. I'm looking forward to spending some time in some of these other games that we've already purchased via summer sale or spring sale, and just haven't had the time to play. Don't Starve, Starving Together, and Don't Starve Together series was one of those things that we knew that it was going to be coming out. I couldn't believe that it took them that long to release it to the people that they said was going to get it for free for having Don't Starve. And it sounds like and looks like now that if you purchase Don't Starve, you don't get Don't Starve Together. If you purchase Don't Starve Together, you don't get Don't Starve. You actually have to purchase them separately or in a package deal or something. I don't quite understand what that's all about, but don't necessarily agree with it. I think that was a kind of a scummy way to do things. I get it, they spent some more time putting money and stuff into it, but just the draw of being able to play it as a multiplayer would have brought more people to the game. They didn't have to do this backhanded thing where they basically said they were going to give it away and then did not. Kind of a scummy move, if you ask me. I still really enjoyed the game. We're still playing it, as you can see on the channel here. But I always, after getting something like that happen where it just sticks with me, feel like I don't really want to give them any more of my money. So it's one of those things where, depending on what they come out with for future games, I'm gonna be hard pressed to say, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and purchase that. That being a long time situation for me with EA, and the fact that I purchased Sims actually surprised a lot of people because of how adamant I am about not buying their games. I don't know, it was a personal choice, and I decided to just go ahead and do it. One of the games out there that I think that, first of all, gets a lot of community support, also gets a lot of developer support, and even more importantly, is a game that no matter who plays it, it's always going to be different. It's in that sense, it's like Minecraft. You can watch 100 different people do Minecraft Let's Plays, and every single one of them can be completely different. Well, I think Sims is the same way. Everybody's going to have a different playing style. Everybody's going to have a different thought process on what they want to accomplish. Everybody's going to have a different learning curve in the game, etc. And that's what creates good content, as far as I'm concerned. So that was a big factor in why I purchased it. Along with that, and more importantly, I always enjoyed building the houses, the dwellings for my wife's Sims. She asked me a few times to build her houses or help her lay them out, because I have a fairly extensive background in architecture and drafting in general. As far as schooling goes, I've always had a passion for it and whatnot. She had it was a no-brainer for her to ask me. So in that same sense, it was a no-brainer for me to get a game where you could have so much versatility in creating a house, a dwelling, an apartment complex. I mean, the sky's the limit on that thing. It's just a matter of figuring out how the game works, utilizing the bugs to your advantage, because there's a lot of them. And oops, don't want to ruin that that axe. I was like, man, this got fast all of a sudden. And experimenting and having fun, just creating dwellings. So might expect to see a few of that kind of thing going on in The Sims as time goes on. I never really got big into the instruction videos on how to build stuff in Minecraft. I did do quite a few of them while I was still on the Xbox 360 version. That's kind of where it stayed. Once I moved to the PC, I just personally felt that there was too much saturation, and there was really no point. All the different styles had really been established and explored quite fully, and more basically what it comes down to, I didn't want to get to a point where I was accused of trying to copy somebody else, because everybody copies. There hasn't been anything new in architecture in a very, very long time. Believe me, I know. I've done a lot of studying on the subject and read a lot of biographies and seen a lot of buildings, both in real life and in picture, and can tell you that no one's really bringing anything new to the game when it comes to architecture. We are still essentially limited by structural and science, mathematics. There's just too many things that we just plain and simply cannot accomplish at this point, and until there is a large difference in our ability to create structures, freestanding or integrity, those kind of things, we're going to be stuck to certain kinds of thought process. Now, that's not to say that people can't have a artistic point of view that will definitely change the way a building is perceived, but overall, buildings are all rectangles and squares, and the rest is just dressing. I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. I know it was a little bit of a talkie here towards the end. I just, want to add a little bit of that in here as I do from time to time. I hope that that's why you come to join me, is to hear a little bit about what's on my mind or what's going on in life, etc., as I continue to explore and share here in Minecraft. Hope to see you in another adventure. As usual, folks, thanks for watching. Don't forget that like and subscribe if you enjoy my videos, and I will see you next time.